My original pitch proposed a critical analysis of nostalgic DS games from my childhood. This has now evolved into specifically pet simulation DS games in order to condense the types of content in my final project, which will consist of a 5-minute YouTube video alongside a blog post. My analytical framework from my pitch has been updated slightly, comprising of the themes of nostalgia, content, and audience. This modification has allowed me to explore how specific content, such as pet simulation games for the Nintendo DS, are targeted at a certain audience and how this affects one's memories and emotions toward these games. As expected, I have encountered a few bumps in the road whilst developing my digital artifact, the first one being that I underestimated how time-consuming analysing each game would be. Because of this, I have limited the number of games I play from 5 to 3. This also led to me narrowing my focus even more to specifically pet simulation games. The 3 games I have chosen to focus on are Nintendogs, The Sims 2 Pets, and Pets My Kitten Family. These are all games I played throughout my childhood and each have unique elements while still relating to one another. This will provide me with a variation of game experience to analyse through my analytical framework. Other difficulties I have faced include recording footage on the DS, which I resolved by using my phone to film. I am aware that this isn't ideal, however, with my time restraints, it was the most viable option for me. I also have been struggling to manage deadlines for other assessments, which should be less of a problem since lightening my workload to only 3 games. To manage this further, I will stick to my schedule, which is included in the blog post below. My final setback has been receiving feedback. I hope to resolve this by further utilising Reddit and Twitter to share my content. I've already shared part 1 of my digital artifact on multiple relevant Reddit forums to encourage audience members to provide feedback, as well as sharing my blog link on Twitter to attract users from multiple platforms. I did receive some valuable feedback from my peers on my pitch, which included suggestions of providing detail on the games I'm looking at to ensure the audience become aware of the basic background information of each game. I have taken this feedback on board as seen in my Nintendogs post, which will be linked below, and utilised the blog portion of my post to provide my audience with the key information on Nintendogs. I also received some useful sources in my pitch feedback, which I will cover more in the blog post below. So what's next? I will be continuing to play each game as much as possible over 2 weeks and produce a YouTube video alongside a blog post as demonstrated in my first post. Throughout my gaming experience, I will continue to document my thoughts after playing, adhering to my analytical framework, focusing on how each pet simulation game was targeted at a specific audience in its prime, and how the gaming experience of those players today can be impacted through their nostalgic memories from the past. The second part of my DA is set to be up by the end of week 10, and the final part is to be completed by week 12 to allow for week 13 to be spent on the contextual report and blog post. There is more on my schedule in the blog post below.